Hello, everybody. First of all, how is my volume? How is my Whoa, okay, that's probably too much. How is my volume now, fellas? Okay, it looks like I'm getting a positive response. I don't know what the delay is. Hold on. What's the delay? I'm moving my mouse on the screen to see when that shows up. Oh no, there's like 20 seconds of delay. I'm gonna wait a little while longer for people to join in, and then I'll get started. All right, it's about time to get started. Hello. Okay, so now that I have set the groundwork for my Jason and the Argonauts series, I have to draw every Argonaut, which is gonna take a minute. And I've already got started with several designs. There's 55? I think 55 Argonauts list. I'm using Argonautica as my main. There are different accounts on how many Argonauts there are and who they are. I am sticking to Apollonius's Argonautica as my main source. So I'm going with the catalog of Argonauts that the poem begins with. So far, I have got Jason, obviously. Got Orpheus. This was my first attempt at a Orpheus redesign, and this is way better. I just did this today, so now I can finally delete that. Yeah, I'm really happy with this Orpheus design. I love Thracian hats so much. I love these little doofy little hats that kind of curl over like that. Then we've got Argus. Let me turn off there. We got Argos. We got Typhus. We got who is this? Idmon. He's the other seer who comes for the voyage, even though he knows he's gonna die on it. So he's just a little bummed to be here. We've got Heracles. This is my older Heracles design, and it was already perfection, so pretty much the same. But I still have to redraw him just to fit in how my style has evolved. There's his boyfriend Hylas. They got I didn't name this asset yet. I forget whose name this was, because there's a bajillion names, but most of the Argonauts are like not anyone who or at least half of the Argonauts are extremely obscure. But just the one detail about him provided in the Argonautica is that his dad didn't want him to leave for the voyage, so he hid his armor. So he put on a bear suit and is carrying a giant axe. So I thought that was a fun design. Then there's what's his name? Palamonius, son of Hephaestus, and apparently he inherited his father's disability. There's Polyphemus, not the Polyphemus from the Odyssey, evidently. Then there's Peleus, not Pelias, Achilles' father. Then there's Idas. He's the guy who basically is just complaining the entire time. And then his brother Lynceus, and he's described. The only thing described about him is that he can see through the earth. So I gave him special eyes to match. And then there's the Sons of Boreas, and I'm not crazy about this design quite yet. So I might revamp this later. So this is, how many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So that's 14 out of 53 that I need to draw. So I've got a ways to go. I enlisted the help of fellow artist Duc Divini, and he kindly I commissioned him. I paid him for this, but he did a bunch of doodles mostly of just generic Mycenaean soldiers, because I needed because like I said, most of the Argonauts are like very obscure, unremarkable characters, but he also drew some more important characters like Typhus. I used his Typhus design, I used his Peleus design, and his Argus design. He drew Atalanta, though unfortunately Atalanta is not in Apollonius's catalog, so she's not actually going to be on the journey, but I do like Atalanta. I don't know why he drew Andromeda, because she's not in the myth, but I love this Andromeda design, so I'm probably going to reference it if the next time I have reason to draw her. I should probably give him showcase the designs that I'm not using, just so he can have his time to shine. Like he did this Jason design that I didn't use, and I think that's Medea. I have a very specific idea in mind for Medea. And also he did this awesome Talos design where it's kind of like based on a, like, he's like a animated suit of armor, which is really cool. I was gonna go with that, but then I got an idea that I really like for Talos, so I'm not going to use this, but I wanted to showcase it because it's good. And then the rest, I think, are just generic Mycenaean warriors, which is going to be super helpful for designing all the guys who I have nothing to go off of in terms of like personality or what they look like. So I can just copy these and then maybe do slight tweaks to them. And yeah, and obviously like I'll adapt these to my style. Duck Divini, he's a very, very good artist. Twice the cartoonist that I am. And he also helped me design a bunch of Israelites for my last Exodus video. That was super helpful. I just need help when it comes to, like, I hate drawing background characters because it's difficult for me because I have nothing to go off of with them. So it's just helpful to have someone just do these little doodles that I can then adapt into my own style. So yeah, big shout. And I credited him in that video, so I'll be crediting him in this too for his help here. I haven't been looking at chat. Let me read chat for real quick. Can't wait for the murder girl boss to show up. Yeah, I'm looking forward to showing Medea, but that'll be after several episodes because first they have to get to Colchis, and I think I'm gonna do like each tiny chunk. Because before, for the longest time, I've been trying to do things in really big chunks, but now I want to, for this Argonautica series, I want to see if I can do it in just tiny chunks at a time, so then I can have a more consistent upload schedule. So each like little mini episode of the poem will be, I think, its own video. Are you going to do the Trojan War? Yeah, but I want to keep things in chronological order. I've been getting super chats. Hold on. Hey, Jake, glad I get to see you online. Greetings from Argentina. Thank you so much. And you sent me 2,000 units of Argentinian currency, which I very much appreciate. I don't know what that converts. I got $10 from someone else. Will you draw Native American Indian myth gods? I have no idea at this point because I don't really know anything about that culture. And especially as an American, as a white American, when it comes to like Native American mythology, if I were to do it, I would want to make sure it's very, very well researched and very like mindful of the culture. Oh, hey, Vinny is here. Please, someone rescue me. I've been stuck on James' basement for months. He only feeds me cold McDonald's. Yeah. I enslaved Vinny to do these designs for me. So anyway, so yeah, as you can see, I've already done this like sketches for these characters. So then for streaming, I figured I could do the cleanups for them. Because that's something I can do without having to, like, when I'm sketching the characters, I'm doing a lot more. That's a more thoughtful process for me. So it wouldn't be able to stream while doing that because it's just distracting. But for doing the line art, that's a bit easier. I really love this typist design. Vinny gave him the dolphin tattoo, and then I was like, oh, I can base it off of a Minoan fresco of dolphins. I don't think we have zero evidence of Mycenaeans or Minoans having tattoos, but I think there is. I want to say there's contemporary evidence somewhere else in the world of people with tattoos. So since he's a sailor, the explanation can be, he gets around, he travels the world, and then at some point he went to a place where people had tattoos and he was like, oh my god, give me a dolphin, please. And now that I'm working with voice actors, I definitely want him to have a very like Mr. Krabs pirate voice. That's very important to me. Someone's asking about Egyptian mythology, and I intend to get back to that, but I've juggled. Now I've taken a break a bit from biblical mythology to focus on Jason and the Argonauts. And then I also want to get back to Norse mythology. There's a specific story I want to do with Norse mythology. And but it would be like a pretty chunky video. So I've held that off for a very long time. So yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna... I have it in mind. I actually have something in mind for Egyptian mythology that I want to do next. But I just don't know when I'm gonna get to that, unfortunately. For anyone wondering, the program I'm using is Blender. That's what all my videos are made in. Skin tone, I feel like he would be really tan. Very like bronze. Yeah. I didn't even know that Blender had animation. Do you mean 2D animation? Because people have been doing 3D animation in Blender for a very, very long time. 2D animation was introduced, like dedicated 2D animation tools was introduced in Blender 2.8. But a lot of people still don't know that you can do 2D animation in Blender. And Blender is a little... Blender can be very love it or hate it, but I love it. Worthy Kids, who I feel like I've made it known that I'm a very big Worthy Kids fan. He also animates in Blender. And he even posted, might be a little outdated now, but he posted a Blender tutorial on his channel. That just shows you how to do the basics of 2D animation. Can you do a video on the play The Bacchae by Euripides? I definitely want to do something like that. I've always thought the Bacchae would be done would work really well as like horror. I think that would be really cool with that approach. But yeah, that's something I want to do, but I do not know when. Oh, thank you, Cuddliest Possum, for $20. Holy shit. Please have a nice day, funny art man. I loved your video so much, and you do a great job with the stories you share. The Loki video will always be my favorite. Thank you so much. Yeah, I really love this typhus design. Green eyes, I guess. So the way these eyes work. Oh yeah, so I'll show you in a second how I got a lot of comments about the eyes. how I'm drawing eyes now. And I kind of, to an extent, I agree with people thinking they look a little uncanny, so I've tweaked them a little, and I'll show that off in a second. And but anyway, a cool thing I can do is, I mean, this is pretty standard in most animation programs, but what I do for the eyes, for the pupils, is I have the whites and the pupils on their own, each on their own layers, and then I mask the pupils to the whites so I can move the pupils around like so, and the pupils don't overlap with anything. But anyway, so I've done some tweaks to the pupils. So this was Jason's asset in my last video, and so I've kind of squished the eyes a little bit and enlarged the pupils, and I think that looks a little better. I think that looks a little less uncanny, a little more canny, if you will. Would love to see some feedback on that. I'll look at chat for a second. I love the shaky line work. Gives it a homemade look. Oh, you mean the line boiling? Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about Blender is that's really easy to implement. It's just a modifier. Did I do it to? I just made Orpheus, so oh no, I didn't forget. So yeah, this is just a modifier that changes the position and thickness of the line material. So it does this, and I can turn it on and off like that. The problem is I have to put it in manually for every individual grease pencil object, and a lot of the times I forget. And so whenever I watch back on videos where I've forgotten to do the line boil effect on something, it always sticks out like a sore thumb to me, and I hate it. Jake, what's your favorite Wii game? Definitely either of the Mario Galaxies. Absolutely. That might be the only Wii game I go back to, though technically I go back to it on my Switch now. No, they haven't put Mario Galaxy 2 on Switch. I feel like I played that fairly recently. I've never emulated Wii games, so I must have been using my Wii U. Yeah. Yeah, either of the Mario Galaxies are awesome. Oh, the line boiling is from Blender. I thought you just drew it multiple times. Yeah, that would be a pain in the ass. And even though I've been gradually making things more complicated for myself, initially at least the whole idea with the way I do animation is for it to be as simple as possible. And more recently though, as you can probably tell, I've started wanting to put more detail into things, and now I'm kind of in an awkward, like, my art is kind of in its like awkward puberty stage where in some aspects it's improved, but in others there's still some work that needs to be done to make it look right. And so, yeah, lately I've been trying to find... I already feel like things are better. Like, I'm liking the designs for these new characters a lot more than the designs from my previous video, and a lot of that has to do with Vinny's art kind of inspiring me to loosen up a little bit, which I think has been very beneficial. Okay, this is my favorite thing about Blender Grease Pencil is sometimes most of the time, the fill tool sucks. There we go. But then there's these parts where I just kind of have to... Oh, wait, I know what I can do. Wait, I can't lock these? I'm trying to lock this material, but it won't let me. Alright, well, would have been easier if I could do that. But I'll just have to do it like this. Yeah, like I said, Blender is pretty janky, but it's janky in ways that that make sense to me. So even when it's annoying, it's not as frustrating as something like Adobe Animate, which is very easy to use, except when it decides just not to work, which is most of the time. Like, what frustrates me about Adobe Animate is that even though the design of like the UI and everything is very simple and intuitive, it's just full of bugs and it crashes. And yeah, but whereas Blender, things can be more complicated than I need to be, but it makes sense. It just makes sense to me, and it's very stable. It almost never crashes. Except when I updated to 4.3 just recently, there was a bug that was causing all my files to crash, but then I was able to get that sorted out. But it was a frustrating couple days trying to figure out what was wrong. $2 from Mazzy Moonjo. Love you, Mr. Animation Man, and your art dearly. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the donations. It means a lot. Speaking of which, I've never been as active on my Patreon as I've felt like I should be, and I want to change that this year. So I'm hoping I haven't like figured everything out yet, so I'm not like making commitments, but I do want to see about adding new perks to my Patreon. But I also don't want to make myself more busy than I already am animating these videos, so it'll take figuring out, but I want to do more on Patreon than I'm doing right now. Ooh, 10 euros from Kaiser Jeremy. Sup, I completely binged all your stuff over New Year's. Great stuff. Love to see animation still going strong here. Keep going. Thank you so much. Seeing your channel pushed me to finally animating. I use Krita and I'm loving it. Oh, awesome. Yeah, Krita, I recommend, so anyone looking for animation software, the best free options I'm aware of would be Blender, Krita, OpenTunes, I guess, though I've never been crazy about OpenTunes. And then I think there's like an open source fork of OpenTunes OpenTunes is already open source. There's a fork of OpenTunes that called, I think, Tahoma 2D, which is interesting. I haven't like looked too much into it, but it looks like it's OpenTunes designed to be more intuitive. So that's worth checking out. Always check out, generally I recommend people check out the free options. They're the best non-free, the best premium 2D animation program, I guess, would be Toon Boom. Or Moho. I've been interested in learning Moho. Because I know Cass Vandepol, he does like the ultimate summaries of The Lion King, of like Mario movie, those videos. His style is somewhat similar to what I go for, except, you know, he's a lot better. He's a better artist than me. And he also does like the Lion Boil effect, and not all, but at least some of his videos have been done in Moho, and they look really good. So I've been curious about learning Moho to see if that might actually be a viable alternative to what I'm doing right now, because there are certain frustrations I have with Blender, but I also feel very at home in Blender, so one of the things that pushed me to have more complicated character designs is Blender finally put layer groups. Blender finally added layer groups to Grease Pencil, which just makes it easier to do slightly more complicated characters. But they don't, there's no like layer parenting. You can't like filter modifiers by layers. I want them to add that. That would open things up even more. I would really like that. How am I gonna layer this guy? Okay. Please do a Hydra vid. I don't know what you mean by that. I technically I do have a Hydra video, though. It's just me being a pedantic asshole to the mythology guy. But he was very nice about it, so so yeah, I've technically already done a Hydra video, and I don't know what else it would be. Like, the Hydra in Greek mythology is just, yeah, it's just part of Heracles' story, and I don't think it shows up anywhere else. I know, sometimes I get comments like, hey, do a video on this, but it's such like a people recommend me doing a video, quote, doing a video on a certain subject, and I don't understand what they mean. Like, I don't understand what they envision that video to be. Like, when you say do a Hydra video, it's like, well, I've already done Heracles and his 12 labors, so what would a Hydra video be? And okay. Yeah, that works. I have to think about when I'm doing the line art for characters, I have to think about like, okay, this arm is going to be on a layer above this torso, and then this one's going to be behind it. I gotta usually I make those calls on the fly, which does sometimes doesn't end well. Time to do the nipples. Wait, I'm not sure about this color. We'll see how that looks when I dump the regular skin color on him. Oh, I need to draw the dolphin tattoo. I'm not sure what color the tattoo should be. I don't know if... I've seen Scythian tattoos depicted as red. I don't know if that's based on any evidence. Yeah, I don't know what color the ink should be. I mean, I don't... Usually when it comes to color, I don't really look into what... I don't at all look into what pigments and dyes and whatever would have been available. I just do whatever. And that just makes things so much easier for me when it comes to character design, because it doesn't limit me in terms of how I can make characters look distinct from one another. Okay, those nipples are looking fine. I think I'll just go with blue. It matches his headband. I don't know how I feel about that. I'll play around with that some more. I should probably extend this. This'll probably... Having his whole shoulder on this layer might bite me in the ass if he ever needs to raise his arms. But we'll see. Question, how do we correctly pronounce your YouTube name? It's Jake W, because my last initial is W. That's it blows people's minds when they realize that for the first time. There we go. I'm smart. If you do the Bacchae by Euripides, I feel that Dionysus should have the bull horns and purple pupils. So I kind of have two Dionysus designs in mind, because there's the stories of when Dionysus is like a teenager traveling the world, basically. And then I imagine and then there's when I imagine Dionysus as older, like grown up. And he's like, basically Dionysus, he represents the two phases in a Greek man's life, the twink phase and the big hairy guy phase. And yeah, I think so I think the Bacchae would take place during the twink phase. And then I need to read through the Bacchae. I'm familiar with the Bacchae, but I don't think I haven't read the play or watched a performance. But isn't his horns, when horns start showing up, that's when he kind of like reveals that's like his divine form, when he reveals who he is, to my understanding. So I figure I would just do that as like a transformation sequence, as like a big reveal. Will I do a Celtic myth video? Yeah, one day, maybe someday. I guess wait. Should this be more like... Yeah, because it's more like a flat piece of fabric wrapped around him. Dionysus should not be fat in his older stage. In the myths, he's a jacked and handsome guy that could pull anyone. I think you're underestimating how much a fat, hairy guy can pull. Like, frankly, I think you need to be a little more open-minded. Not even being ironic about that. Yeah, I don't know what this guy's clothing colors should be. I'm just gonna have it blue for now. Yeah, I responded to questions about Egyptian mythology earlier. The answer is I have a specific subject in mind for the next one, but between all the things I'm juggling right now, I just don't know when I'm going to get to it, unfortunately. I want to. I want to very much. What program do I use? This is Blender. Sumerian mythology? Yeah, probably eventually. Do I want to do this hatching pattern? I don't know. I don't like the hatching pattern. Might change my mind, but okay, then yeah, I think green for the skirt. And then for maybe just darker green. Yeah. Sure, I might totally redo the colors for some of these characters. Do you play D&D? Yeah, with my friends, but I'm not entertaining enough to do that on like a stream or something. Have you thought about covering Odysseus? Absolutely, but that's gonna be a minute because first I gotta do the whole Argonautica, and then some other stuff that takes place before the Trojan War, then the whole Trojan War, the whole Iliad, and then I will get to do the Odyssey. The Odyssey is like chronologically one of the last things. Yeah, I never have characters' legs move, so I can just have them on. Usually I put legs on their own specific layer, but I don't really need to because they just kind of waddle when they walk. Are you considering other projects in between these Hellenistic tales? So it's always foolish for me to talk about like long-term content strategy because I pretty much have never stuck to at that. But what I'll say is what I think I'm going to be doing. This is very, just imagine a fat asterisk next to everything I'm saying. I'm gonna try and stick to like the Argonautica right now is my like long running series. And I don't think I'm gonna cover anything else Greek until the Argonautica is complete. However, like every now and then in between Argonautica episodes, I'll throw in like a one-off of something else. No, I'm not even going to comment on like subject matter. Like that would be too much hubris right now. Yeah. So like for Greek, it's just going to be Argonautica until that's done. And then like every now and then maybe a one-off on another subject, except but I don't want to shelve the Bible for too long because there's so much of that I still need to do. So yeah, I'm just compounding all these things. Yeah, it was the right call to give him Popeye arms. Have you already drawn the Argo itself? Yeah, let me show that off, actually. Well, I've done a sketch for it, so I still need to do the line work. But I'm actually really happy with the design. Here. Yeah, this is the Argo. And so the so an important part of the Argo is the figurehead, because there's a point where it actually talks to them. Let me find. And for the figurehead, I referenced these Minoan. I think they're Minoan. Or are they Mycenaean? I think these are Mycenaean. These Mycenaean clay figures. And then for the like side of the boat, I need to know more about boat anatomy is the thing. For the side of the boat, there's that like mural, and that is based on, do I have it in my ref? Yeah, that's based on this beautiful Minoan fresco, except this will be more like a coral reef with fish and stuff. So yeah, I think that looks really cool. Then I don't know about the sail design, but the idea is for it to be Phrixus on the ram. And yeah, and anyway, it's based on the shape of the boat itself is based on Minoan ships. I don't know if again, don't know too much about sailing or nautical history, but I don't know if Minoan ships had these kind of had like a lower deck, had like thole pins on the lower deck. I don't know if that's a thing, but anyway, yeah, that's my Argo design so far, but I still need to actually draw it. And I should probably, you know, actually look into understanding boat anatomy. Matthew McConaughey should be your reference for Acastus. I don't know. Again, I need to. So I've read Argonautica all the way through once. I've read the catalog of Argonauts at the beginning several times now, just to make sure I had them all to make a list. I need to read now. I need to read through the Argonautica all the way through again, just to note every character that is actually important versus the characters who are just mentioned at the beginning but then don't really do anything of consequence, or at least not anything that'll like end up in my adaptation. So I don't know. I was late, so you might have explained this already, but I love how the dolphin tattoo is like the dolphin from Knossos. Yeah. I intentionally based it off. It was Vinny's idea. It was my friend Vinny who I commissioned to design some of the Argonauts for me. It was his idea to give him a tattoo because he's like a sailor. And then I was like, oh, it should be it was a dolphin, and then I thought, oh, it should be a Minoan fresco. It should be based on a Minoan fresco. Is it usually just the arms that are separate layers? It's usually, I mean, I have Jason here, and these are all the layers. I don't know why. These are all the layers for Jason. So we got his eyes, mouth, nose, and head all in a separate layer, and then in a head group, and then the body is his pelt. Oh yeah, you can see here it'll show the layer that's on his skirt, chest, arms. He's a little more complicated. But I've been starting to rethink how complicated they actually need to be. So like now I think I just have pretty much their whole face just on one layer, and then the pupils and whites and head on their own layer. What program am I using? Blender. Where's Meleager? I haven't drawn Meleager yet. It said that he's... So, Apollonius says Meleager, he's young. He's like... I want to say he's like a teenager or just like barely into adulthood. But then it says if he had like stayed home and trained for 1 year longer, he would have been like right next to Heracles in terms of physical strength. So I feel like should he be like comparable to Heracles in terms of his like stature? I don't know. Okay. All right. He is done. Oh, I should make these assets. All right, Typhus is done. I might rethink his color scheme, but otherwise he's fine. Who else would be fun to... Oh, yeah. Palamonius. I like his design. I think I like his design because he's the son of Hephaestus and he's disabled like Hephaestus. So I gave him the same little legs that I thought were fun, and except now he has crutches. I don't know how far back this design of crutches goes, but since he's the son of Hephaestus, you know, his dad probably just, you know, inspired him to invent crutches, modern crutches. Who is your favorite character so far, Jake? Probably in the Argonautica. She's not going to show up in my series for a while, but probably Medea. What sucks is that Apollonius explicitly excludes Theseus and Pirithous from the crew of the Argonauts, so there's literally nobody except Jason who I've already drawn. If you've heard of the Hyksos in Egyptian history, do you believe they inspired Joseph? That's what some scholars speculate, and I'm not in a position to be any authority on that. Sure, I think it's plausible that not that my opinion matters, but sure, I think it's plausible that the Hyksos and like other Near Eastern ethnic groups, Semitic groups who immigrated to Egypt around that time, I think it's very plausible that they had influence in the development of the Joseph story. Why is it not... Is something weird going on with layers? Okay. Something... Sometimes this happens. I can't... did I lock the material? It's not letting me move... Okay, that works. It's not letting me move it. What layer? Oh, the layer is not locked. Okay, I can rotate it, but I cannot translate it. Oh, it was this. Shift tab. Did I accidentally hit shift tab? It was the snap function. Wait, no, it's not. What? Oh, because I turned it back on. I'm so stupid. Immediately turn it back on without realizing it. Okay, cool. I feel compelled for some reason to have him be dirty blonde, I guess. I like silly. I like that I found an excuse to do a more silly design. I've been trying to lean more into that. And again, my friend Vinny, who I commissioned to help with these designs, he helped with that. Like, my Argos design is largely based on him. And I like that he's just a little like small but stout guy. Ooh, $5 from Angel Great. I can read. Jake, will you one day do a video linking Has-Been Hotel and Hellebusk? I don't think so. I don't know what, like, I've only touched on like modern media if I've been sponsored, I want to say. So, oh wait, no, when the Hades 2 trailer dropped, I did that. I like mentioned Melanoe because I figured that would get clicks. That video did not perform particularly well, so that didn't pay off. So yeah, I don't really typically touch on like modern media unless I'm like sponsored, like the Angelarium thing or the Black Desert thing. And I haven't taken any sponsorships in over a year just because I haven't wanted to. Even though I could have made a lot more money. I don't want to, I don't know. I'm not like against the idea of talking about modern media, but I don't know. I'm not particularly interested in doing it with the Vivzy Pop shows. That's not me throwing shade to them or anything. I'm just not particularly interested in making that part of my content. But I don't know. We'll see. Will you make a compilation when all the episodes are done for Jason and the Argonauts? Yes, that is 100% the plan. Hopefully within the year. Hopefully well within the year, so I can get to doing other stuff. But yeah. I usually my hope is to be able to get a compilation, at least one like big compilation of a bunch of videos done for the like holiday season, like November, December, because that is when YouTube ad revenue is the highest, and I also get the highest revenue on long videos because the algorithm likes that, especially for my channel. That's usually the videos are like between like 5 and 12 minutes or so. So when I post like an 30-minute to an hour long video, and it has like way higher watch time than anything else on the channel, YouTube is like, whoa, let's push this. That didn't quite happen when I posted my Bible compilation video. That video kind of did average in terms of views, but it still did great in terms of watch time. So the ad revenue was still better. So yeah, all that to say, yes, absolutely. I'll put it all together into like a movie. I guess it will probably be, we'll see. It'll probably, might be under an hour when all is said and done, but we'll see, for Jason and the Argonauts. But it would be cool if it ends up being feature length, but also that'll be a lot of work. I don't normally do like gray eyes, but sure. In your video where you were sponsored by Angelarium, I saw you briefly drew the 4 archangels, and I got really excited. Would you ever talk about them? Yeah, probably when they're relevant to, whenever they become relevant to my biblical series again. And I'm doing everything, and I'm doing the Bible in order of the books, in the way they're canonically ordered. So we'll see when that is. I don't quite know when I'm gonna start on Numbers, except Numbers. So the book of Numbers in the Bible, after Exodus, the Torah, the narrative segments in the Torah are pretty like few and far between for Numbers, Leviticus, and Deuteronomy. So that'll actually, so I'll probably be able to just make like little smaller episodes for those individually, for like each individual part. So we'll see when I get to that. Like I said, I'm going to be doing this this Jason and the Argonaut series, and then I'll sprinkle in like one-off videos on other subjects here and there until this is done. And then when this is done, I'll probably move to some other series. Yeah, I like the idea of a series. Oblibla sent 500 units of a currency I do not know and said, I loved your new style, especially Zeus. The curly hair reminds me of Disney Zeus. I look forward to... Yeah, oh, can I find... No, I don't think it's my reference sheet. Zeus is based on a very specific, archaic period, statue. And then I tried to make it look a little more Mycenaean. Oh, I didn't even show off my Athena redesign. But I like how Athena looks a lot. Basically took her classical design and then made it Mycenaean. Yeah, originally, I don't know if... So I redesigned Athena before this. This is a tweaked version of a design I did previously, and I don't remember if it ended up in a video at all, but it looked more or less like this. Yeah. Originally, the snakes were bigger, and they were all, like, kind of wriggling, the snakes on the Aegis, but that was just... made things too busy, so I just made them look more like they do in classical artwork. Oh, $5 from Safer. Have you thought about animating Journey to the West? Yes, but that's a very... that would be a very big I actually got contacted... early last year, I got contacted by the devs of, like, sent an email, I mean. I got contacted by the devs of Black Myth Wukong. And I think I responded, about a sponsorship, where obviously I would be doing something based on Journey to the West. But I think they just stopped responding. I think they just didn't respond to my response. But I think that was for the best because Journey to the West is huge. I know OSP has been doing a long-running series on it, I think. I haven't watched it. But yeah, basically, if I want to do Journey to the West, I want to do it right. So it's probably better that I was not trying to throw something together on a tight deadline for it. Demon Thing, $5. Have you ever thought of doing a video on Canius? There isn't much info on him, and I'm really curious. I want to say pretty much everything about Canius I covered in his like brief cameo in my Theseus video, unfortunately. So yeah, I want to say that's I pretty much have covered everything relevant to Canius. I think he's just offhandedly mentioned in other sources. He's offhandedly mentioned in Canius's son is one of the Argonauts, and Canius is mentioned in the Argonautica, but it's literally just, yeah, he fought the centaurs and they beat him into the earth, and he's still there because he can't die, and that's it. So yeah, I don't think there is really anything more to learn about him, unfortunately. Who's your favorite Greek god? Personally, mine is Ares. Hephaestus, maybe just because I love my design for Hephaestus. I love my drawing. I want to say Hephaestus was the first or second Greek god I drew for my first Greek mythology video, and I don't know, I love his little crazy straw legs. How long did it take you to learn Blender? Many years ago, I decided I wanted to be a 3D animator, so I learned like the basics of animation in Blender and also the basics of like modeling in Blender, but I never stuck to it long enough to get good at any of those things. And then Blender came out with the 2D animation tools, and I was like, oh yeah, I know the basics of how to navigate Blender. And so I started using it, and yeah, it wasn't too much of a learning curve to use it for 2D animation, since I already understood the like general UI and stuff, and how to like navigate the 3D space in Blender, which is useful even if you're using 2D, because sometimes like something will mess up with Grease Pencil, and then it just helps to know what you're doing generally in Blender to figure it out. Anyone see Nosferatu? That movie slaps. I am a big Robert Eggers fan. I have been since I watched The Witch at like 2 a.m. many years ago, and then had like a fever dream nightmare that night. Ever since then, I've been like, this guy cooks. I watched. I did my research for Nosferatu. I watched the silent film, and also the 1978 remake by Werner Herzog. And that movie, I think I might actually like the Herzog movie more than the Eggers one. I didn't know that the forget her name, the lead actress from Possession. Possession is this like batshit psychological horror movie from the 80s. And the lead actress from that is in the 78 remake of Nosferatu. And I didn't know that, so when I saw her, I was like, oh, this is going to be good. She's just so intense in her acting. Yeah, she did not disappoint. And then that made me a little worried for the new Nosferatu, because Lily Rose Depp, I feel like the vibe has kind of been that she has a lot to prove, I guess, because the most high profile thing she's done so far was The Idol, which was not good. But I was happy to say that she delivered in the Eggers movie, in Nosferatu. Like she kind of like held her own in comparison to the actress in the Herzog one. They're both excellent at doing like looking like they've fallen into some like horrifying ecstatic trance. I hope Jake isn't doing this because people were saying he paid others to do his art. I mean, I did pay others to to help me with the character design for these argonauts, just because there's so many of them. But in my most recent video, that was all the character designs were done entirely by me, for what that's worth. No, the reason I'm doing this stream is just because I have like there's over 50 argonauts that I have to draw for this next video, because I want to do like a rundown of like, here's all the argonauts. And so it's just going to be a major grind to get all of these characters done. So I figured I may as well stream some of the process to kind of I guess, monetize it in the meantime. Make some tips in the meantime. I really do not want this next Argonaut episode to take as long as the first one did. It was like 2 months. Mostly because there were some Blender updates that kind of complicated things, kind of changed my workflow a little bit. But also mostly because it was just a complicated video. There were a lot of like one-off characters in that last video. Like Pelias, the main villain, technically does not show up until the very end. Until he shows up at the beginning and the very end of this story, which is a little frustrating because I had to draw him, I had to design him, I had to cast for him because now I'm doing voice actors. Very fancy. How many of the Argonauts will actually be relevant, though? Yeah, not even half of them, probably. But that's why I commissioned my friend Vinny to draw a bunch of like generic Mycenaean warriors that I can then copy. So then I don't have to expend my brain power coming up with a bunch of unique designs for characters who barely do anything interesting, but still need to be there in the background at least. Thank you so much for your videos. Love your work. Thank you so much. Jake, can you draw? V1 Creature of Steel, I appreciate your €2, but I have no idea what you just said. But thank you anyway. I should... See, this is what I do. I just copy paste drawings and then just try to like tweak them a little bit to make it not look like I just copy pasted it. Why did I bring up Nosferatu? Oh yeah, it's because I want to eventually do a I'm putting myself in in my hubris. I'm talking about future projects that I have not even begun any groundwork for, but I want to do a Dracula series eventually. I like the idea. I've wanted to do this for a couple years, but I finally started this last Halloween season I want to do like spooky themed videos for October. And I started that with the Japanese ghost story. For like 2 years in a row, I wanted to do Frankenstein. But both times I was like, yeah, I'm gonna this is the year I do Frankenstein. And then October comes up and I'm like, I am not in a position to start on a project that big. So that's why this last year I did the Japanese ghost stories based on Lafcadio Hearn. But this year, I think this is the Frankenstein year. I think this is the year I'm gonna do Frankenstein. And then the year after that, maybe Dracula, because that would be fun. In the Egyptian art procession of the Amu, there's 11 adult men and children. Hyksos led by... Okay, you're saying like that piece of artwork depicting the Hyksos is possibly the sons of Israel. I don't know. That just seems to me like someone counted them and was like, "Oh my God, it's them." I don't know. It would be so miraculous that that specific piece would survive to the modern day. But that drawing of the Hyksos is what I based the Israelite clothing on, though, for my biblical videos. Did you know there's a myth about Buddha trolling a serial killer with that infinite looping background joke from the cartoons? No, but that sounds fun. If you ever make videos about the Quran, how will you depict people? Okay, I don't intend to do videos on the Quran. Even if I did, I wouldn't do that until I finished all the biblical videos. But I have actually put genuine thought into how I would go about depicting people if I were to do that, which I don't think I will ever will. Usually in like Islamic art, certain Islamic art, I haven't actually studied like the specific periods or anything like that. You see people with these like fire halos, and sometimes it covers their faces. So I think that would be a cool way of, like if I've ever had reason to like draw Muhammad or something, I think I would just cover his face with a fire halo, and I think that would be fine. I think, I don't know. Can you tell us if you would do Native American mythology? I do not know. I don't currently have plans to. And if I did, I would want to make sure it's well researched. Bhagavad Gita. I'm kind of showing my ass here, but I don't know what that is. I assume that's South Asian? In which case I am not, like, that's Indian mythology. That's just, like, I have pretty much no knowledge of. I wouldn't even know where to start, so obviously I don't want to ever rule that out, but it would require a lot of research just to even begin. So definitely can't say I would do that anytime soon. Color. Orange. Let's just do orange. Let's see how we like it. Sure. Okay, someone said, "Oh no, he's hot." Is that me? Or is it this fella here? Either way, respect. I always get stuck on the trim pattern, and then I usually just make up something boring. Like, sure, this is fine. I need to just get like a book of like, I don't know, like red figure pattern motifs, like archaic pottery motifs, and then that can just be my reference for doing designs on. Like I don't know if I like Argos's trim pattern there. So yeah, I just need to get like a big reference thing for that I can just be like, okay, this character, pick something out and just do that as the fabric pattern. No, not blue. Maybe green. Maybe it needs to be shorter. And then maybe some folds. Oop. Yeah. That works. Just spaced out for a minute there. Yeah, his feet should be. Anytime I draw hands, I got it. What if you did April Fool's mythology one year, like aliens and dinosaurs or something? I don't know if it would be that, but yeah, I like the idea. I like the idea of like doing something for April Fool's. I like when channels do some like shitpost video on April Fools. Have I done that before? Yeah, I did that before. I did the Greek mythology in a nutshell video where it was just a picture of a walnut or something, and then my muffled voice coming from it. That was a good gaff. Will you ever make another Norse myth video game? So the one thing I like about Norse mythology is that there is a definitive like end to it, and a reasonably finite number of myths to cover before that. So yeah, there I do fully intend to this year get back to, again, my hubris talking about future videos that I haven't started at all yet. I intend to get back to Norse mythology this year, and hopefully I can there are a number of like important there are a couple stories I want to cover, and then there are just the ones that kind of lead up to Ragnarok. There's a sequence of events that you can pretty much trace as like leading up to Ragnarok. So I'll just be covering those, and then I guess I'll be done. And then I guess I can cover I can start reading like the sagas and stuff, and see if there's anything interesting there that I want to cover. Oh, I guess he's done. There he is. I like him. Wait, I need to flip him to see if... Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I like this. I like this. I'm getting my silliness back, which has been lacking as of late. I like that he's a really silly design. He just walks like do on his crutches, I guess. All right, he's done. Oh, I'll do Peleus. Achilles' father. Wait, I'll look at chat for a minute, because I haven't been looking at chat much. Puns of damage. Jake, was that just me when I oh, that's Aaron. It took me a second. Hello, Aaron. Aaron is the voice in the most recent video of the Oracle and oh yeah, and of Tiro. They did, so I wrote down I had someone who knows ancient Greek write down like I wrote down like Pelias's prophecy and then had them translate it into ancient Greek, and then I just they had them write it down just phonetically, and then I gave that to Aaron and was like, just yell this in an ecstatic trance and don't worry too much about pronunciation, it's fine. And they crushed it. They understood the assignments, and I used their first take. So yeah, that was awesome. Thank you, Aaron. I forget what your comment said, but oh yeah, it was about the crutches. Yes, that was you when you broke your leg. Would you consider doing a mythology crossover special? I want to see what happens when Zeus hits on Freya. Like, See, this is the sort of thing where I'll get people asking like, "Hey, do this type of video that's not like anything you've ever done before." Like all of my stuff is based on like some sort of source material, so I don't know what people are expecting when, like, I don't know. Like that's not something I could see myself doing. I don't know. I'm not against like expanding into like original writing, but I don't have any particular ideas for that. Oh, Aaron asks, sometimes Atalanta is counted among the Argonauts. Are you going to draw I'm afraid she is not counted among the... I think I'll mention her, so maybe that'll be enough of an excuse to draw her. But she is not in Apollonius's catalog, unfortunately. But my friend Vinny did draw her, and I like this design. If I do have reason to draw her, it'll probably be based on this design. So I apologize. I think Jason literally says, yeah, in the Argonautica, she like asks Jason to join, and he literally like says bros before hoes. Should he be tan? Yeah. I don't know. I think warriors, I figure they get a lot of sun. Wait, is this on the right object? Yes. Yes. Oh, hi, Emmy. I saw a sketch for Heracles. Are you redoing his design? Yes, but only just to make sure he looks right side by side with the current characters. So this is his older design, and then this is just my sketch based on that. So yeah, I will be redesigning it, but I'm not, as you can see, I'm not really changing anything fundamentally. Emmy, I'm sorry I didn't notice you here before. I'm gonna... Yeah, I want... So I haven't done a Achilles design, and I won't have reason to for a while, but I know I want his hair to be orange, kind of like a fiery orange, so I'll have his dad look similar. I think that's how Jacob King draws his version of... Jacob King is an awesome artist who does like character designs for like from like classical mythology. And so he's done a lot of Argonauts. And yeah, so I'm not like referencing him, but he has kind of established in my mind what a lot of the characters look like. Oh, I'm sorry. Have I been so I have caps lock set to beep when I press it because I accidentally hit caps lock a lot. So I'm sorry if I've been making that noise and a lot of you guys have noticed. Are you gonna cover Journey to the West? I'd like to one day, but that would be a really, really big project. What happened to his Lego crutches? That was this guy. We're on to a new character. Jake, are you staying warm? Do you need soup? I'm doing fine. Yeah, here in Texas, it's quite chilly. It's not 2021 levels. That was a doozy of a year. But it's quite chilly. It would be snowing probably, I think, if yeah, it's like at freezing levels now, but thankfully there's no precipitation. This is Peleus. This is Achilles' father. Not to be confused with Pelias, the antagonist. I don't know what his headband, I don't even know what it should be made out of. Yeah, I guess it's just a fabric headband. I don't know about the color, but I can always change that. What was your favorite vid you made last year? Oh, maybe Hoichi the Earless, which was the last video I made. I guess it's a good sign that lately my favorite video has been the most recent one I worked on. But yeah, I really liked Hoichi the Earless. I think that might be my least viewed video from that year. But I liked it a lot. I was proud of the creative choices, like depicting how he kind of perceives things since he's blind, and making that into kind of using that to make it somewhat of a twist when you find out he's been hanging out with ghosts. Playlist drop. This is Stream Beats. This is Stream Beats Ambient on Spotify. Thank you for including my favorite Argonaut. Peleus is so underrated. Draw Telemon. I haven't done a sketch for Telemon yet, but yeah. I might end up just like copy pasting Peleus and then just making him slightly different for efficiency's sake. That's what I'm probably gonna do with for the designs Vinny did for me for like the kind of generic soldiers. I'm probably gonna just draw my interpretations of these and then copy paste them and then just make slightly different versions, and then that'll fill up a lot of the Argonauts. Have I done the story of Io? I don't know, honestly. I wonder if it wouldn't surprise me if... No, it's probably in... It was probably covered by Pseudo Apollodorus. But now I'm wondering if maybe like the definitive version was from Ovid. And for a while now I've been trying to avoid Ovid. I want to stick to Greek sources for the most part. I say that, and in my last video, the whole thing with Hera being the one who kind of conspired to make Jason lose his sandal, like by disguising as an old woman, that's from Hyginus. That's not attested before that, I don't think. But that was just such an iconic part of it, and a relatively small part of it, that I wanted to include it. How am I going to do his arms? Okay, since the big shoulder piece... Oh, no, but then... I don't want to have the shoulder pieces on their own layers. Okay. Oh, wait, okay, I think I know what I'm going to do. Greek, Roman syncretism of other mythologies like Norse, Mesopotamian, Egyptian, others would be a good video along with. I don't know if comparative mythology, I've never like done a super big deep dive into that, like in terms of like researching, you know, But a lot of comparative mythology just strikes me as like, we have no evidence for this connection, but you know, it would be cool. And I'm just kind of like, yeah, it would be cool. But like, I don't know. I don't know if it's like, I don't know. Or are you, oh, by syncretism, oh, do you mean like the Greeks and Romans talking about other people's gods and just kind of how they interpret them in their worldview, like in the story of Typhon, how it says the Greek gods, they like everyone, when Zeus was defeated, all the other guys went to Egypt and disguised themselves as animals, and that's like the Greeks' way of explaining why the Egyptians worship the gods in the forms of animals, and how was it? I definitely haven't read these sources, but was it Caesar? Was it Julius Caesar? Him talking about how like, oh yeah, the Gauls, they think Mercury is the father of Zeus, and he's probably syncretizing Woden with Mercury and Zeus with Thor, or you know, whatever like the Gallic versions of those deities were. Was that Julius Caesar? I know Julius Caesar like wrote a book on the Gauls. That may or may not have been just him making shit up for propaganda. So normally, like, the trim on the Mycenaean armor is depicted as red, but I don't know, I could probably do something more interesting with the colors. What's Gallic mean? That's like Northern Europe, like Germanic societies, what the Romans called them, at least. I'm sure the distinction is more technical than what I just said, and there's someone can actually me on that, and you're welcome to. Would you ever make a Discord server like OSP? Probably should. Yeah, I probably should. Okay, no, a green trim makes him look like a leprechaun. I think maybe I'll go with purple. Sure, let's go with purple. It's not the Argonauts without Medea. Yeah, but Medea doesn't show up for a while. I have a design in mind for Medea. I haven't finalized it, but you can see my early sketches of Medea if you subscribe to my Patreon, which I'm hoping to be more active on this year, because I kind of feel bad about how I'm not super active on Patreon, but I want to change that this year. So I'm going to be trying to think of stuff I can do that won't make me exponentially more busy when I'm already trying to make videos. But the thing is, if I can, I don't know, if I can have a better, like, if I can have better perks for my Patreon, then more people will join it, and then it won't matter so much if it takes me a while to upload videos because I have more people on Patreon. So yeah, I should definitely be doing more on Patreon. This is such a vibe to watch this while drawing. Yeah, I hope that's the case for you, because I like, I don't do it too much, but I like watching streams of people animating while I draw, while I work. This is Pennywise, by the way. I just call him Penny. No, okay, so his name is Pennywise because he was a feral kitten, and the cats in my neighborhood at the time, they like would like jump in and out of like storm drains to get around. So I called him Pennywise, and his brother is named Georgie. But I've always just called him Penny, even though that makes people think he's a girl. And his name has since devolved to variations of Pinor, Penid, Pinu, Peen. Yeah, some variation of Peen. So that's my boy, my son. And he probably wants food right now, but his dinner is not for another like 40 minutes ish. So yeah, that'll just be cat cam for the time being. But yeah, as I was saying, I'm glad to hear that people are drawing while watching this stream, because yeah, I like doing that too, and I should do that more. I just don't know many animation streamers. Maybe I'll start doing this more. But the thing is, I'm not as like, this is fun, but I'm not as efficient, but maybe I can get better. I'm not as efficient because I'm like also trying to keep track of chat and all that. But I could probably get better at just, being comfortable on stream, so I'm not really thinking about it as much. Because yeah, this would make it easier to, if I did this more, it would make it easier to, it would be a nice way of, getting people to throw me tips while I'm taking too long to make a video. Are these like, I guess this is just based on Vinny's design, so I guess these are like metal studs on his strap. Linfamy makes great vids on Japanese history and folklore. Yeah, I think he's one of the channels I looked at to, because the story of Hoichi the Earless, it centers around the I forget the names of the clans, but a pivotal war in Japanese history, like the battle that happened in the whatever strait. I'm already forgetting the names. But anyway, I watched Linfamy's videos on that to just get the necessary background information, because I wanted to depict that battle. Was it the Genji and Minamoto clans? Or is the Genji clan the Minamoto clan? Because they have they both have two names based on the writing system. Because of the right, yeah. I definitely know Japanese. Oh no, it's the Genji and Heike clans, because of the Heike crabs. Penny, do you mind? The way he just looked at me. Will I do more videos on Egyptian mythology? Yeah, someday. But I I have a lot going on. I even have a specific idea for what I want to do, but I just have a lot of other things I'm juggling right now. Penny, do you want to sit on my lap? Yeah. All right. Right. So these kind of plates, these kind of front plates, they're like kind of overlapping each other, kind of like shingles. And I don't know if I want to like try to convey that depth. That's the thing, is I am trying to, because I'm trying to put more detail into these characters, but if I put in too much detail like that, it just gets busy and it ruins the kind of simplicity of the designs. So ooh, does he want to get on my lap? No. Is that Goliath you're drawing? No, I'm drawing the Argonauts from the Greek myth of Jason and the Argonauts. Oh, I guess since it's been a while, I should showcase the character designs I've already done. So I finished Orpheus before the stream. I'm happy. I love Thracian hats so much. Then I've got Argos. This is Peleus, the father of Achilles. This is Idmon. Yeah. This is Heracles. I'm just kind of redrawing. I'm not changing the design really. I'm just redrawing it. Oh, I plan to make his like beard a little gray, specifically because in the story, Jason is like, he's very new to this heroic questing, whereas Heracles, he's kind of like, you know, he's the shit. He's the most famous Greek hero, and he kind of serves as the kind of what Jason is trying to live up to. So I like the idea of him looking a little more older and mature. And then there's Heracles' boyfriend, Hylas. There's Polyphemus, not the giant Cyclops shepherd. There's Palamonius, son of Hephaestus. You can see the resemblance. There's Idas, the asshole who's just complaining the entire time, and his brother Lynceus. Then there's the sons of Boreas, and this is like 13 out of over 50 that I need to draw. Oh, a little fun detail. I recolored Jason's sandal because he had to replace it because he lost the other one. So this is a fun little r/movie details that now Jason's sandals mismatch because he had to get one replaced. So yeah, post that onto r/movie details for me. I'll give Penny some privacy while he cleans himself. Castor and Pollux, I haven't drawn them yet. I think I avoided drawing them for the Theseus video when they save their sister Helen. I specifically avoided drawing them because I just didn't want to have to draw such important characters. Like, have to sit down and come up with a design for them. But now I have to. Wait. Oh, I'm stupid. Wait. They overlap the other way. I'm so stupid. Yes, they do. Okay, so this is the top of this plate. So I'll start from the bottom. What's a good way to get a foundation on Greek mythology? Read the ancient sources, I guess. I mean, you can just watch my videos, and like that's a very accessible way of learn. But obviously, you know, I take my creative liberties and all that. The source I generally recommend is the Library by Pseudo Apollodorus, which is just this it's a very dry overview of all the like most important myths in Greek mythology, but it covers pretty much everything you need to know. And then obviously there's Homer, the Iliad and the Odyssey. Hesiod's Theogony is like the deep lore, the like explaining who's the parent of each god, and how the kind of hierarchy of gods was established. I should probably update. I made a video on like how to like what to read for Greek mythology, but I could probably make a much better one now, so I probably should. It's so weird to see characters with pupils. I didn't realize it would be so like jarring for most people. I do see where they look kind of like uncanny, but I have tried to work on that. See here, this is Jason in my most recent video, and then I kind of tweaked his design where I made the main thing with the pupils is it just makes it so much easier. It was less an aesthetic choice and more it just makes it so much easier to indicate where characters are looking, and it helps with expressions. It just helps to convey more. But I see where it looks a little uncanny with the whites. So I've tried to, I thought maybe like making the eyes a little more squat and a little more narrow and making the pupils a lot bigger. I think that might, I say pupils, I know I mean irises. I think that helps a little between these two. I want to say this is an improvement. But I also think for the most part, it's just people not used to like seeing a new thing and it just being a little jarring, so. You gotta search Mycenaean/Minoan sources rather than ancient Greek. All right, okay, if you're talking about for mythology, there really aren't. There isn't that much in the way of Mycenaean. Like, we don't know much. I don't know what you mean by that, because, like, there's hardly anything. Like, we've got, like, scraps of linear B writing that don't convey... that. Like, I'm not saying it's not interesting to learn about, but like you're not going to get nearly as vivid of a picture as from the classical sources. Like that's people saying like, oh, the original version of Hades and Persephone from the Mycenaean. We don't have a Mycenaean version of Hades and Persephone. Like literally, there's nothing. There's some like there are scholars who believe that that society was more matriarchal. So you've touched on the sore spot for me. There's scholars who see reason to believe that Mycenaean society was more matriarchal. So that's where you get the idea that the Mycenaean equivalent to Persephone had more agency, I guess, but we don't have like a Mycenaean source telling that story from their perspective. It literally doesn't exist. If you don't translate linear A, if you don't crack the code, if you don't discover the linear A Rosetta Stone, you're not a real mythology fan, and you don't have a right to comment. I honestly don't even know if the idea that Mycenaean society was matriarchal, I don't even know if that's well-founded. Like, that could be bullshit for all I know. I genuinely don't know. What do you genuinely think of Percy Jackson? It's rad. I read it as a kid. I reread the first one a while ago. They were saying it is easier to look up clothing using Mycenaean Minoan clothing instead of ancient Greek, since it gives the same results of togas. Oh, so that whole rant I did about Mycenaean mythology was completely unwarranted. Yay. Oh yeah, the funniest part in Argonautica is when Thetis comes and scares the shit out of Peleus. Is that the funniest part? No, the funniest part in Argonautica is when they like get stranded in Libya and they're just like, guess I'll die. And they just sit and wait to die. And like the desert nymphs need to be like, are you okay? Oh, I accidentally... Wait. Okay, I can just fix that. There we go. That's fixed now. Did I not lock the layers? I don't know why I'm forgetting to lock layers. Unfortunately, Atalanta is not on in the in Apollonius's catalog of Argonauts. Out of curiosity, when did ancient Greeks believe these stories took place? Well, aside from the like primordial myths of like in like Hesiod's theogony, it would have been during what historians today call the Bronze Age, the Greek Bronze Age, which is a little confusing because the Greeks, particularly Hesiod, had their own Bronze Age, which is not a historical which is not a historical period. But yeah, so that would be like in the ballpark of. I'm not gonna pull this out of my ass. I'm gonna Google it. Wikipedia says the Greek Bronze Age, or I guess no, this is like the larger, like Mediterranean, North Africa, Near East. That would have been 3300 BC to 1200 BC. And then there was a huge collapse, like civilization level collapse in Greece. And then by the Archaic period, things had stabilized, I want to say. And then all the stories of like heroes and stuff took place in like this not so distant memory of a time when things were a little bit better. And that's where you get Hesiod's like doomerism. Because he's kind of looking back at this cultural memory of the Bronze Age when there was more prosperity. And where he gets this idea of like, oh, I was born in the wrong generation. Sorry, I just hit caps lock again and it made a beep. So if you're wondering where that beep came from, that was me. How do you make your caps lock beep? It's somewhere in, I want to say, accessibility settings on Windows. There we go. Okay, I think Peleus is done. I think I'll wrap it up soon. Because my cats need to eat, but could see if there's something small I could do. Yeah, I'm not sure about Typhus's colors. I think I definitely want the tattoo to be red. Ah. Too dark. Too purple. Yeah, that looks right. Oh yeah, this is a fun bug in the most recent version of Blender. If I have the noise modifier, the thing that makes the lines wiggle, if I have that on when I try to use sculpt mode, things get fucky. Oh, this is Georgie. I don't know if he's visible. There he is. This is my other boy, Georgie. And he also wants dinner, even though it's not quite dinner time yet. Okay, I think that'll be it in terms of drawing. I think I just want to wrap that up for the time being, but I'll take, I don't know, Q&A and chat for a few minutes. So if any of you have questions, just put those in. Jake, have you ever talked about Hecate before? Didn't I make a Hecate video? I'm pretty sure I made a Hecate video. Wait, we can have this be cat cam. How do you use the noise modifier? So I'll just take it off. So with the noise modifier, here I have this grease pencil object. This is just one grease pencil object here. I go into modifiers, add noise, and then this is the default. It's on randomize with 4 steps, so every four frames it just like reseeds it. And so then I actually have a macro button that fills in the parameters for me the way I want. So the parameters are position, so this changes like the location of the strokes. And then there's strength, which I don't use, which changes like the opacity of the strokes. Thickness changes the thickness. And then UV, which doesn't do anything with these materials that I'm using. And then noise scale, which changes like how much, like how wobbly it is versus just affecting the entire. If the noise scale is 0, then it affects each individual line uniformly, whereas if you put the noise scale up, it's more fine. And so then I have a macro that just fills in the parameters exactly how I want it. So Blender changed the way the noise modifier works recently, so I'm not 100% sure if I like exactly how it works. Oh yeah, and I have it affect only the material I use for the line art, not the fills. Though in this one I noticed that you can kind of see, yeah, you can kind of see under the line art, so I need to fix that. Yeah. Sometimes the fills aren't quite high resolution enough. Don't have enough polygons or points. Points. That's what it says for not vertices, points for grease pencil objects. So I got to go in especially with outlines like this. There's like a lot of little crevices. I gotta like I gotta subdivide it and then kind of fit it into place like this, which is a pain in the ass. The filling in line art is probably the shittiest part of working with grease pencil. The Blender devs keep saying they're working on a solution to make it less shitty, and so far none of them have made it that much less shitty. I picked a good character to do this example for, because otherwise I might not have noticed that this needed to be fixed. Okay, sure. Back to looking at comments. Have you talked about Hypnos? No, I think I've drawn him once, but it was just in like a community post like many moons ago. Do you prefer Blender over Toon Boom? I definitely prefer Blender for my purpose, for this purpose, like this style of video. What you think about Epic the Musical? I have not listened to it, but I should. I know my friends are into it. I know my friend Aaron, who was in the chat. I don't think they're still there, but they're very into it. Have you heard about the upcoming the Christopher Nolan Odyssey movie? That's kind of a big fat we'll see. Robert Eggers is the only director right now who is doing like historical based movies that tackle the history in a way that the history aspect in a way that I find interesting. Jake, is it okay to have a special feeling to an asexual goddess? Sure, but just don't act on those unless you want to be turned into a deer and then get mauled by dogs. Do you plan on making a video talking specifically about the Titanomachy? No, because we don't have any like super detailed description of the Titanomachy. I want to say Hesiod's theogony is the most detailed description. Ooh, hello, Penny. Would you ever consider redoing old videos? Part of me really, really wants to, but the other part of me knows that it's probably better just to continue forward. Maybe when I'm done with like, I've covered pretty much everything I want to with Greek mythology, then I could basically do a soft reboot by doing a series on Ovid's Metamorphosis. I have not watched the Percy Jackson show, but maybe I will one day. Thoughts on Hera? She's cool. Can you show your Olympian redesigns? I mean, in this file, I've just got Zeus and Athena. You saw Poseidon and Hera in my other video, and I haven't drawn anyone else yet. What references do you use for Thracian and Colchian characters? I mean, I have my pure ref file up here. Yeah, this is my reference file. A lot of it is like artist renditions based on archaeological evidence, mostly like art, like modern art based on ancient art. I mean, here's a lot of it's just pulled straight from Google Images, just as like a quick reference. But then there's, I think most of what we know of Thracian costume is based on red figures like this, depicting Thracians, and that's where you get their silly little hats that I love so much. This is what my Orpheus design for this video is based mostly on. You can see here, same hat, well, different kind of tip for the hat. Same cloak, though I added this kind of buckle, toggle? Is this a toggle? Whatever. A thing to fasten the cloak, and then he's got the shoes there. So yeah, that's all based on this red figure. Yeah, oh yeah, I found this cool reconstruction of a Thracian or Scythian. No, this is Thracian. A Thracian cloak. It's a cool thing going on there. I think it's based on this red figure and this red figure. So I'll probably reuse that when I have reason to draw. And then for Colchians, that's harder because I don't think we have any art. I don't think we have any artifacts from, first of all, Colchis. I don't even know if that was necessarily a real society. It might have just been something the Greeks made up, but as for like where Colchis is supposed to be, I don't think we have much of anything to indicate what people, like how people dressed there in that period. But I did find like, this is a reconstruction of, oh god, some like neighboring society from around the Bronze Age. I forget what. This is Koban culture. This was kind of my main reference. I would love to find what archaeological evidence these outfits are based on, though. And then there were the Assyrians. I've referenced these. Oh, I think this is also Colchian, or Koban. That's where I got. That's where I gave Aedes his kind of like pointy hat was based on these reconstructions. And then this is, I forget where this is from. Some society that like also is like along the Black Sea, but this was some body that was found, and then this is a reconstruction. And then yeah, Assyrian. There are some Assyrian elements to Aetes' design. Oh yeah, that's where Aetes' hat kind of has this wrap around it. That's Assyrian. Totally anachronistic. This is like 1,000 years later that the Assyrians occupied that area, I want to say. But yeah, I basically took that hat, this metal pointy hat, and then that same like wrap, and that's Aedes' hat. Will you ever do Egyptian mythology again? Yeah, probably, but I have no idea when. What was your favorite adaptation of any Greek myth? I don't know if I have. Oh, I haven't watched much of it. I need to watch more of it, but the Jim Henson Company did like a anthology series. I want to say in like the 90s or 80s. It was like this anthology show. It was called like The Storyteller or something. I think it was a spin-off of a thing that is focused specifically on Greek mythology. And it's like the Jim Henson Company, so there's cool like makeup and puppet work. So yeah, that's fun. Are you gonna give Apollo his hair loopy thingy? Are you talking about like the curly bangs? I've realized that when I draw, whenever I have reason to draw Apollo again, it's probably just gonna be Griffith. I realize the image in my mind is just Griffith from Berserk, except like more yellow hair instead of white. Thoughts on Blood of Zeus? I don't like it. Maybe I need to watch it again. Maybe I need to give it another try, but I did not care for Blood of Zeus. Thoughts on Fate series? I have not played it or watch it. There's so much Fate media. I have no idea where I would even start. How do you reply to someone's message? I don't know. If I see your message, and I have an answer. The one reference you couldn't remember the identification of is from the Varna culture. Thank you. I told some of my friends who are also into like historical art is like if there is any like Bronze Age Black Sea culture you can find like material, like reference material for, send it to me. Because there's really like very little to go off of for like what the Colchians could look like. That's why I went with that's why I even went with Assyrian influence, even though it's completely anachronistic. What program do you use to draw? Blender. Hey, why the art change? Because, I don't know. It would be boring to draw the same way forever. Favorite god / goddess from any mythology? I don't know why I was about to say Blender. I think it's because I've answered that question so many times. My gut response to any question is Blender now. I don't know. Odin is cool. Odin's like an interesting character. Urartu culture. That's come up. Hold on. Yeah. For like reference for the Colchians. Yes, that is. I will put a pin in that. Thank you. Has been hotel / hell of a boss video, please. I don't understand what you think that would be. I don't get what that request is. I don't get it when I get these requests for subjects where like, what would that be? Like based on the videos I have made so far, what would a has been hotel video be from me? Thoughts on American Gods? I have not read it. When are you gonna try Indian mythology? I know zero about Indian mythology, so I would have and like, I imagine it's a very big subject, so I would have a lot of research to do before I could even like consider that. Favorite Greek god? Hephaestus. I don't know. He just seems like a nice fella. I think he raped someone once, but you know, nobody's nerfect. Jake, do you know your content is being stolen and re-uploaded on TikTok? Yes, that's been the case for a while. I actually think I can attribute to that to the first time my channel, like my mythology video specifically, like actually blew up. So in a way, I kind of have those people to thank. But yeah, I don't. So I guess I'm not too like upset about it, but I'd prefer people doing that to at least like have my channel name visible if they're gonna do that. Philippines, I know nothing about their mythology, so I would have to learn a lot to see what there is to learn, and then see if I could do anything with that. Is there mythology that you've wanted to study more about but haven't yet? Yeah. Indian mythology, that's probably like the biggest subject, I imagine, that in terms of like how much there is and how much I just don't know. Japanese mythology I know would be very popular, but I don't know too much. Finnish, I have not read the Kalevala. Is that what it is? Yeah, the Kalevala is the, I want to say, the source that preserves a lot of what we know about Finnish mythology. And I have not read that, and I don't really know anything about that, but I imagine it would be a great subject to tackle. Hey Jake, what do you use to make a smoothie? A ninja. Oh, what are Vinny's socials? Yes, I will post that in chat. One sec. Vinny is the one who helped me with a lot of these character designs because I had to draw. I have to draw like 50 argonauts, so I needed help. So that is Vinny's Twitter. Please go there. I'll keep the stream up a little bit longer just so everyone has a chance to click on that link. Yeah, there are in according to the source that the source I'm mainly using, Apollonius of Rhodes Argonautica. There are 55 Argonauts starting out, and then they pick up. A few people die, and a few people get picked up along the way. So, are you including Atalanta? Unfortunately, no. Apollonius specifically excludes her, like makes a point to exclude her from his list. Also Theseus and Pirithous. So yeah, basically nobody I've already drawn gets to be part of it. Jake, is it okay to share your videos? Yeah, please do, of course. Can people make fan art of your designs? Absolutely, please do. It's fun. I don't know. It's funny to me that you need to ask permission for that, because the answer is absolutely. Are they gonna fit in the Argo that I've drawn? Probably not, but I can just fudge it and it's fine. Will I ever cover the Iliad? Absolutely, but I have a lot to cover before that. Because chronologically, the Iliad and the Odyssey are like at the tail end of things. Can a Discord server be created? I probably should. It would probably be like, I probably should be focusing on fostering a community. That's kind of part of the reason why I wanted to do this stream, is to just, you know, have that community engagement. So yeah, I should probably start a Discord or something. But then I'd have to get mods, and I don't know. I'm not taking mod applications right now. I already did a Theseus ship joke. Who did the voice acting in the latest video? I credited them, so you can, at the end of the video, you can see their names. Aaron Trichet, my friend Aaron Trichet, was Tiro and the Oracle. My friend Rachel Doda was Hele. She did the scream as she falls into the water. Voice actor named Nicholas Andrew Louis was Pelias and Neleus. And Elsie Lovelock was Hera. She has amazing range. So does Nicholas Andrew Louis. That's why I hit them up, because I wanted to get in contact with people who could do lots of different voices depending on what I need. All right, I think that's about it. It was nice to spend some time with y'all. But I think I'm gonna wrap it up now. I don't know if I'll do this again. We'll see. I appreciate all the super thanks. That was super nice of all of you. But yeah, I think it's time to wrap things up. I'll probably do a little more work, but it's a little, this is fun, but it's more exhausting. So I don't know how often I want to do, I don't know. I guess maybe it's because I'm not a super social person, so it can be a little exhausting for extended periods to be aware that a bunch of people are watching me. But I like to, I don't know. If I do this more, I imagine I'll start a separate channel and or start streaming on Twitch. Just because, I don't know, YouTube is so weird about doing certain things. I know live streams can sometimes be bad for channel growth. I don't know. So yeah, if I start doing regular live streams, semi-regular live streams, I imagine I would make a separate thing. All right. Yeah, I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. But goodbye for now.